everyone, my name is Joe and this is my husband Ed. If you've been following Hope for Animals, you may know that we did a little song to promote the very first installment of Project Adopt Live. So we're so happy today to host the fifth installment of this project, the Home Chat series, brought to you by Hope for Animals in collaboration with friends from the arts and media industries. Yeah, that's us.
So Project Adopt Live by Hope for Animals, PAL, came about because of the passion and commitment of our volunteers to rescuing and rehoming needy animals. So in these uncertain times, staying in might save your life, but love will save your soul. So as you find new ways to strengthen your bonds with loved ones, the safety of your own home, we'd like to remind everyone watching that while animal adoption drives have been suspended for now, there are still many deserving animals out there in the care of shelters and fosterers still waiting for their forever homes.
So if you've been thinking about making room in your heart and your life for an animal or two, please feel free to check out our previous episodes where we featured adoption-ready canine and feline friends just waiting to win your love. And if you are interested in finding out more about them or considering making one of them a part of your family, like Wobbles Woo is our adopted dog here. Hello everyone! Do get in touch with us and we will ensure that the correct people get in touch with you.
And so, without further ado, in this episode, we'll be talking to not one, but two special guests. First up, we have our very first celebrity guest on our show. He's a man of many talents. He's a creative director, fashion show producer, television personality, and author. He's appeared on 3 seasons of Asia's Next Top Model and written 4 books, including We Adopted, a collection of dog rescue tales, and How to Train Your Human.
Yes, and he may be known to some as the Godfather of Singapore Fashion, but he's actually most happy being godfather to a host of rescue dogs and papa to his own very lovely Leia. So please welcome Daniel Boey. Yay!
Hello, good morning. Thanks for having me on. What a wonderful initiative.
Thank you so much for joining us today. And you're really the best person, I think, to talk about adopting dogs because adopting and fostering dogs has been such a major part of your life. Actually, Dan, I wanted to ask you, I've known you for years and years now. And as far as I remember, you've always had an animal in your life. Can you tell us more about the involvement of animals in the life of Daniel Boey?
Wow. I had my first dog when I was in Sec 2, which was last century. And
last year, last month.
yeah. And then I disappeared from his life for a while because of this thing called national service. And I was in university for a few years. And he fell very, very ill when I was in university, but he held on until I moved back home. And within a few months, he passed on. I was just starting out my career at that time, but I realized that even though it wasn't the right time for me to have a dog in my life, I wanted to keep animals around me. So I became godfather to a lot of my friends' dogs. When I traveled, I looked after a retired racing greyhound, Lola, in the UK. When I lived in Amsterdam, I looked after a model's dog, Pascal. And I realized that all of them were adopted. So the whole concept of adopting dogs, when I finally was ready to adopt my own dog, is not new to me. Yeah. So I couldn't imagine life without animals around me. They are such a grounding force, and I think they have made me the person I am today.
Right. Oh wow! Okay. First, before we proceed, Daniel,
Yeah.
Can you please describe the duties of a dog's godfather?
Wow. Okay. Well, like Yoda, I decided to learn as much as I can about training dogs because with my first dog, my first dog's name was Ahok, and we got Hawk in the 80s, and we had a trainer that believed in using choke chains and enforcing force on the dog and the alpha dog and all that, and the more I got to know about this, the more I realized this is not the way I want to train my dog. This is not the way I want to treat my dog. So I started to do a lot of research on training and all. And so I would help my friends. I'll help my friends who had problems with their dogs. I'll help my friends take care of the dogs whenever they were busy, walk their dogs, just so that I would have animals around me all the time. And just spend time with them. When I have nothing on during the day, I would just go spend time with them, or the dogs will come over to my place and keep me company.
Yeah. Oh my! And have you managed to use any of these training techniques on models?
Well, that's why the models fear me.
No, but the dogs love you, right? And actually, I think that that's why you're such a great person to ask our next question to.
Yeah, because there's a major hashtag that goes on all the
Mm.
major social platforms, which is hashtag adopt, not shop. And we'd like to ask you about why you think adoption is so important.
Okay, I am a huge advocate of adopting and not shopping. There are so many dogs out there in the shelters. There's so many dogs that the rescuers are taking in all the time. Dogs that are being abandoned, dogs that are being neglected, and all of them are looking for a good, forever loving home. Let's start off with dogs that I'm most familiar with because I adopted an ex-breeding dog.
Mm,
Now, there is a school of thought that people say, we need to save the puppies from the pet shop, so therefore we need to buy the puppies from the pet shop. But you're
mm,
just fueling demand. The
mm,
more puppies get sold in the pet shops, the more the puppy mills are going to produce more puppies. And what happens to the puppies that are not sold?
mm.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. What
Yep.
happened to the mommy
Yeah.
dogs?
Yeah.
Exactly. And then it also gives rise to the phenomenon of illegal home breeders. I remember this incident very distinctly. I was at Pet Expo with my dog Leia, and
Mm.
this lady comes up to me and says, "I want to breed your dog with my dog." And I'm like, "Hey, excuse me, do I know you? Do you know my dog?" And she said, "Your dog is very beautiful. What breed is it?" So I said, in the first place, I don't believe in home breeding.
Right.
Secondly, um, you know, before you even introduce yourself, you says, you want your dog to sleep with my dog. That's not a very nice thing. And
Yeah. Wow.
yeah, so I just said, by the way, my dog is a Singapore special.
Yeah.
Mm.
And she went, "Oh, really? Ah? Oh, okay, lah, never mind." So,
Oh
I mean, to
wow.
them, these people are dog snobs. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
you want to breed a dog because you think my dog is a pedigree dog. And so what if my dog is? That doesn't give you the right to go and be an illegal home breeder. And
Yeah.
because they don't take these precautions and the puppy mills don't really care. All they want is to get as many puppies from the papa and mama dogs as possible.
It's
The
all profit.
puppies end up with a host of problems. The puppies that you buy in
Yeah.
from the pet shops or from these illegal home breeders, they come with a host of problems, and these problems are not manifested until they are 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
Yep. So I see a lot of dogs, young dogs, being given up because they are blind, they have neuro
Mm.
issues, and
No.
this is because of the way they were bred.
Yeah.
So if you're a true dog lover,
Mm.
give these dogs a chance. Don't be a dog snob. There are different types of people who buy dogs. There are those who buy them so that they can brag about, oh, I flew my dog in from the US or from the UK.
Yeah.
Sorry, these are not dog lovers. These are
No.
dog snobs. And when you buy a dog from a breeder, one, you are ruining a hopeless animal's chances of finding a home.
Yeah.
Two, you're encouraging breeders to continue breeding because you're fueling the demand. And because of that, you're actually supporting the forced sexual interaction between unwilling animals in
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely deplorable conditions.
Yeah.
No, it's true.
Yeah.
And once the mama dogs get pregnant and then they
Hmm.
have the kids, immediately the kids are taken away from them once they're old enough. So it's
Exactly.
an endless cycle of essentially these poor dogs being comfort women and then
Yeah.
taken away from them.
Yep, and think about the puppies as well. Dogs are very family-oriented animals, and can you imagine removing the puppies when they're young from their parents or their family?
Yeah.
You never know whether the dogs are scarred for life.
Mm-mm-mm.
So I mean, take Leia for instance. When I adopted Leia, Leia is a beautiful dog with a host of problems.
Hang on, Dan.
She's
Hang
got
on, Dan.
okay.
Before we continue, can we meet Leia? But while you talk about her,
Okay, Leia is somewhere running in the garden. Let me try and
okay,
get her. Okay,
it's okay.
are you testing my recall?
No, no. I just thought like if she was nearby, would be
All
nice.
right, let me try and get her. Leia,
Okay.
come in, darling. Leia,
Oh, as you can see,
come
the
here,
viewer,
sweetie.
Leia
Here
has.
she is. Oh, you passed the recall test. Come here, sweetheart. Okay, this is Leia. Okay, let me just turn the. Can you see her?
Yes, we can. She's
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Oh, and she's scratching. Okay,
She's
come here,
like a
darling. Come here,
sex slut,
baby.
sex
Come
slut.
here, baby.
Hi.
Okay.
Yeah, so tell us about Leia. So she had a host of problems, you were
Yes,
saying.
she's got follicular alopecia, which
Right.
I mean, her head was bald when I adopted her, and her fur
Oh,
is slowly growing back.
mm,
She's also had to go undergo two TPLO operations. She's got metal rods down both her hind legs,
oh wow.
and I think it's because of growing up in deplorable conditions in the puppy mills, where obviously the dog's health is not top priority.
no.
But I made that commitment to her when I adopted her, that I will give her the best
Yeah.
care, the best health, and the best treatments, and that's something I intend to see through my end of the bargain.
Yeah. And she obviously loves you very much.
Yeah.
She has helped me so much in being a better person. She is, having a dog in your life is just the most wonderful thing ever, ever, ever. I could go on and on and on gushing.
We totally agree with you, but we do want to ask you, Daniel. A lot of people
Sure.
who want to become dog owners often have this barrier because they think, oh no, I have such a busy and hectic life already. I've work, maybe I have kids, I got to take care of my parents. How do you
Mhm.
juggle all these responsibilities with being a pet owner?
Well, I have the luxury of having a little bit more control over my time.
Mhm,
Because I'm my own boss, and when I do events, I'm really really busy. When I'm doing a show, I'm really busy. But otherwise, um, when in between events, I control my own time. Like for example, I actually have no problems working from home because I'm used to it.
uh-huh.
Yep. Plus, before I adopted Leah, I sat down with Derek from Voices for Animals to
Mhm,
find out all I could about her.
mm,
There is a dog for every single person. There's a dog for every single lifestyle.
mm.
If you're a busy person, maybe finding a puppy is not right for
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
because the puppy is just so active and you need to spend a lot of time with the puppy.
Yeah.
Maybe a senior dog that doesn't need to be walked all the time, right?
Mm,
Yeah.
And if you have kids, then again, there are certain dogs that are good with kids. There are certain dogs that are not good with kids. You
mm,
never know about the dog's trauma. Was the dog abused by kids in the past? So therefore, they're reactive to kids. So
mm,
find out
mm.
about the history of the dogs. But I always believe the dog picks you. When I went to the shelter, I'd actually gone to the shelter to see another dog, and the dog was like, "No, no, 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 this is not the guy for me. Just
Oh,
go away and don't waste my time." Yeah. And then when Leah came in, oh my god, we just bonded straight away.
it's lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I mean, and you were talking about how there's a right dog for every person and
Yeah.
how you can always fit your schedule around your dog, actually. And actually,
Hmm.
I would like to add, I mean, to
Hmm.
add, actually, during this time when everybody is stuck at home and people
Hmm.
are going crazy,
Yeah.
dogs have been such a blessing to me. My dog has been such a blessing just to have a companion, especially if you're facing self isolation and you
Yes.
don't know when this is going to end, and you really need somebody to love, and these dogs, they need somebody to love them as well. It's
Yes.
honestly a perfect match a lot of the
Yes.
time. And I wanted to ask you then, I mean,
Hmm.
so we've gone through so many, I think, blessings from our dogs,
Hmm.
both of us. Have you considered adopting more dogs?
Well, yes. But at the moment, I have to consider Leia.
Mm-hmm.
I have brought dogs to the house before. She is very selective with the kind of dogs that she would interact with. She doesn't seem to like unneutered male dogs.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh,
for because she's an ex-breeding dog, and essentially she was an ex-comfort woman, right? Yeah, so she is, and she tends to be a bit more territorial in the house as well. Maybe it's my fault. I've set her up to give her the most comfortable house ever.
yeah.
But I won't rule that out when the time is right, and financially, if I can manage another dog as well.
Mm.
Only if Leah says so. Why not? If I find the right dog, if the right dog picks me, and Leah and the dog get along, then I have no say in the decision process.
Yeah. Actually, Daniel, I realized that I kind of glossed over because you mentioned that Leia and dogs have been such a blessing in your life. And I did want to ask you a bit more about that. Can you recall any episode when you were just so happy to have Leia around?
Well, I work in a really highly strung, very pressurizing industry. When we do an event and all, sometimes we meet all kinds of people, the good, the bad, the ugly, and it is so wonderful to be able to just come home
Mm.
to someone that I know would love me unconditionally, someone that who can sit down and listen to me bitch and still love me, you know. Yeah, and no matter whether okay, it's raining today, let's go for a shorter walk, or I'm really feeling very tired, just run around the garden, I'm not going to take you for a walk today, she would not love me less.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Actually, Dan, we have a question from a viewer since
Okay.
you are not just the godfather of Singapore fashion, but the godfather of many dogs. Sandra would actually like to ask, because in future episodes, of course, not today's episode, in future
Okay.
we'll be showcasing more adoption, more
Mm,
dog shelters where Sandra, people like you, can adopt dogs.
mhm.
I just wanted to, how do you know when a dog gets along with Leia? How would you know that a dog will get along with your dog?
Sure.
So you can integrate that new dog into your household.
Well, in the first place, if I do want to adopt another dog, I would always make sure the dogs meet outside of Leah's comfort zone. So I'll
Correct.
take Leah to the adoption drive,
Mhm.
and watch how the dogs interact.
Mhm.
If the dogs play bow, if the dogs get along with each other, if the dogs um, do not have any show any signs of aggression, then maybe the next step would be a home trial. And never. I made this mistake once when I tried to foster a dog. Never ever bring a dog into Leah's territory. Always get them to meet outside, maybe on the street, at a park, and then walk them into the house together. This was something that Leah's trainer taught as well. And then when they come into the house, let the new dog sniff around, but let Leah. It's Leah's game. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah,
Right, I
yeah,
see. Wow, okay. And thanks very much for asking that
yeah.
question, Sandra.
That's a great question. That is really a great question.
Yeah, it's important to consider the feelings of the member of your family, right?
Yeah.
So, just to let you know, Sandra, in the next episode, we will actually be working with another dog shelter, and we'll tell you a little bit more about that later. Well, you'll get to meet more dogs in case you're thinking of bringing another one into your home. All
We've
right.
got another question from Pexoid. So Pexoid is asking, are there any dogs that would benefit from being fostered? I guess this question is about the benefits of fostering
For the
Mhm.
adoption. Yeah.
instead of just outright committing to a full adoption straight away. What are your thoughts
Right,
on
right. Well, I think having experience with a dog, fostering a dog and all that would give you a chance to get to know the dog very, very well, and the dog to get to know you and the environment as well. So it works two ways. I would say fostering is very, very beneficial. Also, because even if you have no intention of adopting, there are some dogs that thrive better in a home environment than in a shelter. It can be very, very stressful in a
Mm,
shelter.
mm,
So if you have the intention of adopting, uh, then I would say have a have a trial period. It doesn't have to be a fostering period, but it could be a home trial. You know,
yeah.
uh, and please be patient. Just with like for example us, if we when we go to a new place, we're all alone. Someone speaks a different language, it will take time for us to adapt, and sometimes it takes a dog maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks to adapt to the new environment. And remember, dogs do not speak our language. Dogs do not speak English or Chinese. So if you tell the dog pee here, the dog will not understand.
在这里小便
Yeah, yeah.
They're not the same,
So it takes time. It really takes time to uh to to train a dog, uh, and you do it via. I'm a big fan of rewards based training. I'm a big believer in rewards based training. I don't think you should force a dog to do something, because then the dog may do it, but the dog does it because they fear you. You want the dog to do it because they love you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, hey, Daniel. So yeah, about this rewards-based training, I'm again
Mm.
curious. Have you tried this with models as well?
Oh, actually, actually, yes. There's some models that work very well. That
Fear.
through fear, like if you don't listen to me, I'm cutting you from the show. But there's some who say, okay, you know what? That was a great job. Okay, let's go for lunch.
Oh, then they're like, no, I cannot eat. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, no, sorry. But to a serious question, actually, Ed, would you like to ask?
Okay.
Dominic.
Dominic's asking that, Daniel, you've always, wanted a dog in
Yeah.
your life, and so you do. Have you ever considered having both a dog and a cat?
Mm,
Well, I consider myself an animal lover. I love all animals, and it breaks my heart to see all these animals being mistreated and abandoned. But
mm.
I seem to have the most affinity with dogs, and cats know that. So cats are like maybe they can smell the dog on me, but most cats are like, stay away from me. I want to be alone. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. There has only been one cat that has actually come up and sat in my lap and
Right.
slept. But that
Oh,
cat believes she's a dog.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
those people who do love cats,
Mhm.
just to do a shout out for SPCA, they are really, really looking out for cat fosterers during this circuit breaker period. Because as you all know, all these adoption drives, they are not considered essential services, and basically these animal homes are getting fuller and fuller, and they are running out of manpower and space. So if
Mhm.
you'd like to foster cats or dogs during this period, please do get in touch with SPCA. They desperately need your help to bring an animal into your life. All right, actually, we've got more questions coming in thick and fast, Daniel.
Wow.
Can keep up with them. A question from Claudia. Do you know, Daniel,
Mhm.
personally, how these shelters actually select fosterers?
Wow. Okay. I can't speak on behalf of all the shelters, but I do think that all the different shelters have
Mm,
different criteria for looking for fosterers. But I do think the one main criteria would be you would you love animals, you love dogs.
mm,
If you and you're committed to giving the dog a good, healthy, safe, loving environment
mm,
to live in, even if it's a temporary stay.
mm.
If you don't have experience with dogs, I do believe there are some shelters that would give you some form of training, or
Yes.
they might give you an easier dog to handle. Like if you
Yeah.
don't no experience, they might not give you maybe a reactive dog, for instance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And
I'm.
then,
Mm,
yeah, I think with we both had encounters with Voices for Animals (VFA), and
yes,
I know that we were once thinking about fostering a dog, and they were very clear. They were like, okay, so this dog is not very well, but we will pay the medical expenses for this
yes.
dog, and we will tell you where to get the medication. In fact, you can even get it from us. So a lot of these shelters are actually very keen to support you in your fostering journey if you're thinking about trying that out.
That's right. And I said earlier that the dog picks you.
Mm,
I before this pandemic happened and this lockdown, I used to volunteer occasionally. Okay, I wasn't as regular as some of the other really diehard volunteers, and I take my hat off to them. Once in
mm,
a while, I would go to the shelter to help with the dogs, and for some strange reason, the dogs that were the most aggressive, the dogs that were the most reactive, seemed to be drawn to me. I don't know. Maybe maybe it was an aura, but I remember this dog called Kenzo, who was an ex-chain dog, and he had bitten almost everyone in the shelter. They couldn't
oh,
bathe him or whatever. So I ended up taking care of Kenzo, and today I'm still in contact with the person who adopted him. And Kenzo has become the nicest, sweetest dog ever. And yeah,
oh.
and some of the nicest, calmest, most beautiful personalities all stay away from me. So I do believe dogs pick you.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible. We have a question from Ariel, which is
Okay.
she says that she's living in an HDB flat with a
Mm-hmm.
poodle. So
Right.
according to HDB rulings, she understands that she will not be able to adopt another dog. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know whether we're the best people to answer that question, but thank you for it. In fact, I think there are people who are trying to actually write to the relevant government bodies during this period to see whether we can relax the regulations for
Yes.
fostering,
Yeah.
at least, if not for adoption, only because at this time, as we mentioned, the shelters are so crowded.
Yeah.
They really, really need your help. So thank you for raising that up as an
Yes.
important point, Ariel. People are working on it, and we will be sure to get in touch with you if things change.
Yes.
And so I guess the next question for you, Daniel, is that when adoption drives
Mm-hmm.
restart, and I've never owned a dog before, but I really want one. What should I have in mind as I go? If I'm a first time dog adopter, how should I
Okay.
prepare to go to an adoption drive?
Well, let me just walk you through the process of the adoption drive for Voices for Animals, because again, a lot of different shelters have different procedures. But every single adoption drive would need you to go through an interview. So at Voices for Animals, you're required to bring every single member of your household down. So if you live alone like me, it was just me. But if you live with your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister, your mate, every single person needs to come down to the adoption drive because we need to get everyone's buy-in. Because what
Right.
we don't want is for someone to bring a dog back and then the father doesn't like the dog or the mate's allergic to dogs.
Or the
So
grandma, yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
What is this? You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So we need to get everyone's buy-in, and then there will be a volunteer who will interview you. You know, there'll be a pre-screening, and we will ask you all these questions. And if you are a first-time dog adopter or first-time dog owner, you've got no experience, but you are willing to learn and you know all about. You've done your research. You know, we will give you a chance and after that's done, if we find that you're suitable, we'll get you to fill up a form.
Mm-mm.
And once you filled up that form, you're free to look at all the dogs, and then someone else will call you in for a second interview, and then you can tell that person, okay, you know, I have my eye on this dog, I have my eye on that dog, and then they will tell you, okay, you know, this dog needs to go to a family who can handle dogs. You know, this dog is not very good with kids. This dog is good for first time adopters. So so work with
Yeah,
the volunteer who is there to be your buddy, right?
yeah.
Yeah, and if it all works out, then and you adopt a dog, you're not left on your own. You know, I remember when I adopted Leia, I had a whole support system. I had people from VFA and friends as well who have adopted dogs that I could turn to if I had questions. You know, like why is my dog uh, uh, um, behaving this way? Why is my dog limping?
Yeah.
I'm trying to give my dog new food, but my dog does not like the food. So this support system is very very important, so rest assured, you are not going through this journey alone.
I agree. I mean,
Yeah.
we adopted actually our first dog, which was called Tan Tan, and our
Oh,
second dog was Wobbles Boo.
right.
When we were a bit picky about food, we used to call the shelter to go, okay, they don't like the food. What food did you use to feed them? And
Yeah,
they would
yeah.
say, this brand, and then we would bring the food in, and the dog would be like, yes. Or like sometimes after a while they get sick of it, but that's just the dog being picky. And
Yeah, yeah.
I remember when we went there, we were like, we asked for a chill dog because at that time it was not circuit breaker and we were out a lot because we were both freelancers. Our schedule was quite unpredictable, and we asked for like a chill dog that was happy to sit by
Yeah.
herself. And immediately, do you wanna
It was amazing. The volunteer looked around and then pointed to the dog in the corner that was away from every other dog and just
Yeah.
ignoring all the people. And that one picked up was nah. She was just like, why are you picking me up?
Yeah, and then she was like,
Yeah.
no teeth left, so she was like, She looked at it.
Oh.
And the moment Ed looked at her like big eyes and like toothless face, Ed like fell in love. Like he didn't say anything.
Oh.
His face was just like this. And then I was like, no, look at the other dog. So she was like, no, I want this one. And then we brought her home, and she was a senior dog, so she only stayed with us for 2.5 years. But gosh, we wouldn't trade those 2.5 years for
Yeah,
anything.
they were the best. Yeah.
Most
They
beautiful.
change your life, don't they?
They
Yeah,
really
they
do. They
really
really
changed.
do.
Yeah.
So happy to have had her in our life, and happy to have had Wobbles now, even though she's ignoring us and
She's
Oh.
sleeping. Yeah.
Okay, final question for you, Daniel.
All right.
Now that we all the grooming salons are closed during the circuit breaker period, how are you coping with grooming Leia on your own?
You see the white hair? Yeah. Okay, I'm very lucky that Leah is a short-haired dog, and I've always gravitated towards short-haired dogs, big short-haired dogs. But I do make it a point to give her a bath once a week. She hates water, so
Oh,
I have to make it into a nice little party. I'll put on Spotify, play my new wave music, like come on, Leah, let's come. Okay, give her treats and all, and then suddenly, okay, switch on the tap, the hose, and then I'll shower her, and then she's like, okay, you tricked me. But I try to make it a rewarding experience, like every time she allows me to shower her, every time she allows me to shampoo her, I'll give her a treat. I'll say good girl. You know,
oh,
the one thing she freaks out at is cutting her nails.
Okay.
I've tried a few times. I've even tried giving her treats.
Uh-huh.
And rather than me going to the dog, I call the dog to me. So the dog is a willing accomplice.
Uh-huh.
And don't be, if your dog freaks out, don't don't be in a hurry to cut all their nails. Sometimes I just cut one nail and then
Mhm.
okay, happy, play. And then tomorrow try the next nail. Yeah. Yeah. But I also try to walk her up and down slopes on the road so that it naturally files the nails. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, if there are lots of especially now, there are lots of wonderful groomers and all that who are giving tutorials on how you can groom your dog. It's especially relevant for people with longer haired dogs and all that. But don't force yourself on the dog. Don't traumatize your dog because you can end up doing more harm than good.
Yeah, I agree. I think the most important thing is that if you have a long-haired dog, to constantly
Mhm.
brush the dog so that
Yes,
when the circuit breaker period is over, you don't end up with matted fur,
Yeah.
which
that's
can't.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
it's really,
one more, sorry to interrupt. One more thing to add is I see on Facebook a lot of people shaving their dogs down. If your dogs are thicker head and all that, they think that by shaving the dog down, it's helping them, but it's not. And all these dogs end up with rash and all that. So if you're not sure, there's lots of information. There's lots of information on the net, and I believe we have Kenny who's coming up soon, who's going to
yes.
be
Thank
giving us lots of valuable advice. I'm going to be listening real closely to that.
yes, but
Yeah.
Daniel, you're not off the hook yet, okay? We still have
Yeah.
5 more minutes with
Okay.
you.
Okay.
So don't try to hand off the baton. I mean, yes. I just wanted to ask you because
Sure.
Daniel, you've also been very public about your struggles with eczema, and it's
Mhm.
just I find it so admirable that you mentioned before. I think that it's not that you don't have reactions to dog fur, dog dander,
Yeah.
but you just wanted to make them a part of your life because they are so important to you. Can you tell us a bit more about balancing those two concerns?
So at the end of the day, if you want to solve a problem, you will make it work. I still break out in rash occasionally, but I know what my triggers are, which is why I walk clear early in the morning because I know that I tend to break out when I perspire.
Right.
So I by 6:30 in the morning, we are in our car on the way back home.
Mm.
And I walk her by the beach. Obviously, East Coast Park is closed right now, so I walk her now at Sports Hub where there's a nice breeze in the morning. So at least if I don't perspire, it's one less trigger I have to deal with.
Right.
Yeah, and I drink a lot of water after I come back from the walk or after playing with my dog. I take a shower. I wipe myself down. I take a shower, so um, I keep myself clean all the time.
Mm.
I have a medical kit at home, but
Uh-huh.
don't I try not to rely too much on antihistamines because when your body gets used to the antihistamines, then it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
does Leia's short hair help with that as well? Is that one of the reasons why you're attracted to short haired dogs? I'm really not sure about this.
Actually, okay, I really don't know, but I do think so because I get breakouts when I hug certain dogs and when I play with certain dogs.
Mm.
Maybe the dogs are dirty. I don't know, but maybe they maybe I played with them before the day before their shower. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I do think having a short haired dog makes it easier for me, and dog saliva as well. I realize that I will break out in a rash when I get licked by dogs. But how can you not let a dog lick you?
Oh.
But to be fair,
Cannot.
Daniel, I noticed that the dogs that we adopted from shelters, they're
Yeah.
actually a lot less licky than the other dogs, like those purebred dogs, which might be like you might buy straight from a pet store. Because they just haven't ingrained the habit, I think, of licking people very much. That's
Well,
what.
I, okay, I wouldn't say I beg to differ, but I would just say that all dogs have different personalities. Some dogs are a bit more affectionate. Some dogs are a bit more like cats, like don't touch me, leave me alone. So
Uh-huh.
I really think that it depends on the dog. Like
Right.
Leah is super 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 affectionate, just like
Right.
my first dog, Hawk.
Yeah.
And then I remember Pascal, the Goldie that I took care of in Amsterdam. Pascal was super affectionate, but Lola, who was an ex racing greyhound, Lola was like, okay, Lola was like Queen Nefertiti, like really regal and okay, all right, I'm out for my walk now, and she will, so different dogs have different personalities.
Yeah, it's true. And our current dog
Yeah,
is very affectionate, but she's not licky for some reason. She doesn't like.
right, right.
people. So I don't know about that, but I think it's a very valid point you make about the short-haired dogs, and also
Yeah.
just to highlight to the viewers that while lots of people love small, fluffy dogs that you can like make into different shapes, like short-haired dogs have lots of benefits. Like Daniel said, they might actually pick up less dirt because of fluffy
Mhm.
animals. You don't know what's in there sometimes. And also like they're easier to groom, which is
Yeah.
why Daniel doesn't always have to bring his dog to the groomer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, but okay, one fallacy that people think that people have is they think that short-haired dogs do not shed. On
Ah.
the contrary, my dog sheds a lot, you know.
Uh,
So there are dogs out there that don't shed, like poodles, but
mm,
and poodles are apparently hypoallergenic as well. But
yeah.
I do think you have to be very careful because with all this inbreeding and experimentation and all that,
Mm,
you can't be sure. I
yeah.
think Leia was an experiment. Leia is very, very
Right.
small for her breed, and Leia has a host of problems, and Leia has problems that are characteristic of her breed, and yet there are other problems that are not characteristic of her breed. So I really think she was a genetic experiment.
Yes, yes. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
All these things that happen in puppy mills that you really cannot keep track of, which is why I think we're always saying adopt,
Mm-mm.
don't shop. And actually, the next shelter that this initiative will be working with is actually the Association for Singapore Dogs, and they've got lots of Singapore specials which are quite healthy because
Yeah.
they actually don't have all those problems that you get from inbreeding, like
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
royal families and whatnot. But yeah, so they're very healthy, and a lot of them are short haired, which means that they need less grooming. So, in case
Yeah.
you're worried about expenses from there, you can please consider the dogs from ASD as well. Oh, we have another question.
Okay.
Question.
Does your so Daniel, this viewer is asking, does your doctor say that eczema can be caused from having dogs in the
Did you
house?
actually get a medical opinion on
Ah,
this?
okay. I suffer from severe atopic dermatitis, so I break out from my head to my foot, and I went through an allergy test. So I had samples on my hair. I sent in blood. I had samples on my skin, and they gave me a whole list of things I was allergic to.
I
Um,
remember this story.
yeah, yeah. But if you're allergic to something, whether you have it in a house or whether you have it outside, you are allergic to it. It doesn't mean that if I'm allergic to, for example, milk, I drink it in the house, I break out. I drink it outside, no, I don't break out. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just think that if because I'm allergic to dogs, I just need to keep my house a little cleaner. I just need to take a bit more precaution,
Mm.
and I need to keep her beds clean as well. My dog suffers from allergies too. In fact, she is going through she gets her cytopoint jabs once every 2 months to manage her itch and all.
Mm.
So you know what they say, right? Dogs and owners always take after each other. So poor thing lah, I got allergies, so I passed it on to her. Yeah, yeah,
Actually, then, like, can
yeah,
you tell us about that whole list of allergies that you have? That I know now you're avoiding a lot of foods because you told me like the list of allergies like super duper long. But
yeah,
you
yeah.
cut dogs out of your life, despite it being possible that you're allergic to the dander.
Yeah. Okay. As far as food is concerned, I'm very allergic to crustaceans, so I stay away from it.
Right,
I'm mildly or borderline allergic to dairy products, to
right,
eggs, to
uh-huh,
corn. To
right.
but what I do is I do take it in small doses because how to go through life without ice cream? Cannot, right? Ice cream is like dogs. So right. So
Yeah,
um, I will take ice cream once in a while, but if I do break my diet, then I make sure I don't take dairy for the rest of the week. Yeah,
understand.
and because I know that I'm allergic to dogs, sometimes yes, I allow Leah to lick me and all that, but I clean myself down immediately. I have wet wipes all over the house. Yeah, I
And
have
can I
wet
say,
wipes in my car and all as well. So
yeah, and can I say your
yeah.
skin looks really good actually? Because I
Oh,
remember
thank you, thank you.
actually at one point of time it was really flaring up really badly, and you've been quite
Yeah,
public about your struggles about it. But it looks really
yes, yes.
good now.
Thank you. You know what? It's also stress, and a lot of people have said that I'm happier, I'm less snappy, and I don't look as I don't have the stress look on my face all the time, and I attribute it to having a dog in the house.
Right, that's actually a very
Yeah.
interesting perspective. I mean, Ed is also an eczema sufferer, but
Oh,
yeah,
right.
So it's really, thank God, it's all under control, and really I've learned what triggers it what I do with my dog that triggers it but doesn't. So we have to clean our dogs more, lah,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. I feel you, bro. I feel you. you know,
Uh,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Daniel, for spending so much time with us today. Before we say bye to him, just want to say that if you want to, like Daniel, be a dog owner, we actually will be working with the Association for Singapore Dogs in our coming episode of Project Adopt Live, where you can meet lots of dogs who need a home and need your love and who will give love to you as well, the same way they've given love to Daniel throughout his life. Thank you so much, Daniel, for spending time with us, and we hope to see you very soon. In fact, I think
Yeah,
you'll also be talking more to the team from Hope for Animals. I understand that you've got like a collaboration going on, or is
that's
there?
right. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right.
right.
In fact,
Yeah.
there's an existing video on your podcast that they can watch, right? Where you talk.
Yes, that's right. I have a podcast and I speak to different people who inspire me and different people who uh who have things to share. You know, just to speak to people during this pandemic period. You know,
Ah,
yeah. And she has some wonderful insights into
mm,
adoption and all that as well. So the podcast link is on my Facebook. You can also go to Creatively Unscripted with Daniel Boey, where I've also spoken to other
mm.
doggy experts and all that.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's great. And speaking of doggy experts, okay, Daniel, actually, if you want to stay on, we would really love for you to stay on.
Oh,
And
great.
Penny as well, who will be our next interviewee. But before that, we just wanted to do a bit of a shout out. So
Okay.
Hope for Animals not just works with different artists, but it also not just with media partners, but also with visual artists. And so at this point, I actually like to tell everybody about the collaboration with the Hope for Animals artists team. It's a special fundraising setup in response to the extension of the circuit breaker period. So many animal welfare groups at the current moment are facing significant financial difficulties with paying rent and continuing to provide animals with health supplements, food, medications, all these daily necessities. Hence, what they have done is they've worked with some visual artists, and what have they done, Ed?
Yep, the Hope for Animals artist team has decided to relaunch their bark ornament series. Sorry about that.
Wow.
Bark ornament series. All right, where you can get yourself a bark ornament personalized with a picture of your pets at just $45.
Hey, buck ornament
Wow.
getting whoa buck. No, like, buck. It's like $3. But anyway, yeah, sorry, keep going.
So out of this $45, $24.50 will be donated to the shelters. $10 will be a token fee to the artist, and the remaining will cover courier costs and other costs. So if you don't want to wait for personalization, there are also a few already ready-made bark ornaments featuring dogs, which might already have a strong resemblance to yours or your friends.
Yeah, but of course you can personalize these ornaments to look exactly like your dog. I'm sure your dog will love it, but or maybe not, but you will love it. You can carry an image of your dog around with you wherever you go. This is a really crucial period when animal welfare groups really need your help and generosity. So please don't hesitate to give them a helping hand and score yourself a beautiful keepsake at the same time. You can purchase the Hope for Animals ornaments via the QR code that you will be seeing on your screen or through this link in the captions. And before we move on to Kenny, we also want to do a shout out to a sponsor, which is actually an organization that we are members of as well.
Yes, Pet Lovers Center, which is
Yay.
sponsoring thousands of dollars of food and products to over $5,000 worth of pet food to
Wow.
all the animal welfare group partners and any animals that will be adopted through Project Adopt Live.
Oh my gosh.
Pet Lover Center
Wow.
does have the widest range and the freshest stock of products to help pet owners care for care for their animals, and also provide services like pet grooming and vet consultation. Online shopping for Pet Lover Center is available throughout the circuit breaker period, 24/7 on their website.
So once again, we'd just like to highlight that they are sponsoring food for dogs that have been adopted through this PAL Project Adopt Live initiative. So please, if you're thinking about getting a dog, but you're a bit worried about, oh, do I have enough money during this period? This is a great time to adopt a dog through PAL. But before we move on to that, because you'll be meeting dogs from the Association for Singapore Dogs in the next episode, we would like to turn the spotlight on a very important man who has been working with dogs for most of his life, actually, and he's none other than Kenny of Whiskey. Say hi to everyone, Kenny.
Hi, Kenny.
Hello.
All right, who's that? Who's that you're holding?
Oh, this is Kiki. Yeah, so she's part of our team, and she'll be our model for today.
Oh
Yeah,
wow!
yeah.
What do you mean by she's part of your team at Whiskey? First of all, tell us a bit more about Whiskies and
Okay,
how
so
he's part of your team.
all right, so with skis, we have we do mainly boarding, daycare, and we do grooming as well. So she's actually Rachel's dog. Rachel is part of my team as well. She's our groomer over at Whiskies. Yeah,
Right.
so he comes, along with her mom, just to
Oh,
work, to hang out. Yeah, sometimes. Yeah,
Oh, that's lovely.
yeah.
I mean, I understand that during this period, lots of people at home have actually been having some difficulty because they can't bring their dogs or cats to groomers because it's not considered an essential service. I mean, first of all, can you tell me a little bit more about your own experience as a pet boarder, as a groomer during this period? Like, how's it been like for you?
yeah.
Definitely for some purchase, I would say is definitely very essential because you have things like ear cleaning. Some dogs they are battling ear infections, and the weekly ear cleaning is actually quite important. Otherwise, you get a relapse of the infection. And
Right.
some dogs, they have very long coats, and they need the brushing as well. So I think it's quite essential, but so I'm actually hoping that this all blows over soon, and we can start doing it again. Because there are actually a lot of owners, coming to us, trying to see if we could do something for them. But yeah, it's a bit hard at this moment. Yeah,
I see, I see. And I mean, you were talking about how it's not just cosmetic, right, grooming. It's
yeah,
essential cleaning services actually for the dog
yeah,
sometimes, which actually need a professional to handle it rather than like pet owner going, okay, like, I tried to cut the nail, and then cut too deep. And then you have problems, right? Yeah, I just wanted to check. Could you give our viewers some pointers about grooming their dogs at home during this
And also to Daniel, who's still with us.
period?
Also,
yeah.
Intently.
Okay, so one very big thing that most of us, get a bit annoyed by is when our fur kids, their nails grow too long. You start to see them, like uh making a lot of noise when they walk around. So, when their nails are long, it's actually more than just noise. It's more than just, them annoying you. It's actually a very big thing for their health. Because, when their nails overgrow, when it exceeds the floor, it starts touching the floor, they'll try to compensate, they'll try to, make it less uncomfortable to walk. So they'll compensate by, lifting it slightly off the ground.
Oh,
And this will affect their gait, the way they walk, and you lead from their elbows to their joints. It causes a lot of problems there because of the extra pressures and the weight angles that they start to be in when they walk. So nail grooming is actually quite important. Yeah.
right.
Mm.
Okay. So how can we do that at home? Since I don't know, wobbles and nails are getting really cool. So we can see she's got actually trouble climbing around on the couch sometimes. She slips and
Yeah.
slides. She likes to walk around the couch, right? She's having a bit of problems now. So what pointers for home pet owners would you have for them to cut the dog's nails at home?
Okay, so firstly, if your dog walks a lot and your dog's heavy, it walks a lot and their nails wear down, then that's fine. But some dogs they are lighter, so no matter how much you walk them, their nails just don't wear down that much.
Right.
So what you can do is you just get something like this. This
Oh,
is yeah, this is you just get normal pedicure file that you can use for them. Yeah, so a lot of owners they post their videos of them using Dremels and equipment to do the dog. So it works fine for them, but it might be quite intimidating for others. So or for your dog that has never seen a vibrating Dremel, it could be a bit scary. So this is perfect, I feel, for starting out on them. Because just a few swipes per nail, and you'll be kept short lah. So just do it weekly, and you maintain it.
wow. And this is just
Yeah,
the one that like I could use on my own nails. Like I don't
yeah,
need
yeah,
to.
yeah.
That's great.
Where did you buy it? Sasa?
Anywhere, Taobao, easy buy anywhere. Yeah, yeah. So it's pretty cheap. So you have no excuse. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So if the nail, unfortunately, if it goes over, and you might need to get a new clipper if really you have no access to a groomer, or you have experience before. So I'll just show you what you can do to make the process a bit more easier and less scary.
Oh, that'd be
So
great.
yeah, I'll just put it down. Right. So a typical nail, it looks like that.
Oh
Ah,
wow.
Yeah.
okay.
Oh.
All right. So you can see this part over here. This is the long part that you always see.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But many people, sometimes they're not aware. You will see there's a blood vessel over here.
Right.
Yeah, and for dogs with transparent nails, you get to see it very clearly because it looks pink. But for dogs with black nails or pink nails, sometimes owners they don't know and they just clip and they just read, oh, the blood is
Oh,
just dripping out. So
oh dear.
yeah, so it's something that can really turn a lot of people off, and they start avoiding nail clipping, or maybe they just don't see it anymore. So but the nails will just keep growing. So what I would suggest is if you are willing to try, and your dog is it's okay if you trying. What you can do is you get a proper nail clipper instead of using any other equipment. So get a proper dog nail clippers that look like this,
Right.
and has to be sharp, because you don't want a blunt pair of nail clippers. Just like how if you use a blunt pair of scissors, it damages the paper instead of cutting it.
Yep.
So you don't want to fold the dog's nails. You don't want to cause it to be compressed. All this will cause unnecessary pain. So
Right.
you get a sharp pair, and it's very cheap as well. A few dollars you can get one. So just get it. And what I would recommend is instead of just chopping off the nails, you do use a shaving method. So instead of your nail might be I'll just show you on the pen. So instead of just chopping off at, like, say, a certain area, you start by shaving off bit by bit at the end. Yeah. So what it does is it actually acclimatize your dogs to nail clipping without them feeling any hurt, or getting any trauma from the process. Because what a lot of owners they don't understand is, even though your dog might not be bleeding during the nail clipping, because the nail is essentially a straw. It's a very thick straw with a blood vessel in there. So even if you don't say cut into the vessels, or you don't see any blood, but if your dog is screaming, then there is a reason for that, because they do feel the pressure from the clipping. So a lot of people, they'll be like scolding at dogs, hey, why are you making so much noise? Don't be a drama queen or what. But actually they do feel the pain. It's just like someone pressing your fingertips. Yeah. So they do feel it, just that it doesn't bleed. So a lot of owners, they actually don't know that actually it hurts. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say use a shaving method. Just do bit by bit. So even if you can do just 1 mm a day, after a while, if your dog gets used to it, it becomes just any other thing. It becomes like a bath. And so where do we clip the nails? So if you can see, this is the blood vessel, right? So I would suggest, giving a bit of buffer. So if you can see your dog's nails, just give a bit of buffer. Don't attempt to clip directly at where you think the blood vessel ends, because most of the time that's not where it ends, because it extends out just a bit more. So I would say try to give it a bit of a buffer. So can you see a line there?
Yeah.
So you give it a bit of buffer, a few from where you think that the vessel ends, a few away, you try to clip there. So you don't just do a quick chop, you just do a bit of like shaving, just a bit by bit. It's a bit hard for me to show now, but
Yeah.
just try, just a bit, just clip, no matter how much. If you can clip off a bit, that's progress. So you want to do it, every week. If the nails are overgrown lah. But if it's fine, nail files are fine. So you just do it a bit until you reach, when they are, no longer, touching the floor when they stand up. So you want them to stand up on their paws comfortably without touching your floor. That's when they can, stand the best posture that they are, built to stand on. Yeah.
I see. I see.
Yeah.
And actually, since we have Daniel with us, and Daniel
Yeah.
mentioned he really wants to pick your brains. Daniel, do you have any questions for Kenny about Leia?
Yes. Okay. Apart from clipping of the dog's nails and all that, and earlier on you mentioned cleaning their ears.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I'm not dared to do, which is okay. This is quite gross. Okay, so hold on to your chest. Anal expression.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
How do we, if we really need to do it at home? What do we do?
Oh yeah, before I move on to that, I just want to add
Yeah.
on for nail clipping. So if
Okay.
in
Okay.
the worst case scenario where you accidentally clip your dog's nails, right? What you can do, if you don't have a quick stop powder, which is the nail powder where we use to stop bleeding, you can just use a flour, corn flour, things that you might have at home. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Oh.
that
Okay. Okay.
that works very well. So what you do is, if your nails are, you find that it's dripping, or there's a bit of blood there. You just put the powder on the tip of the nail, and you just hold it there for a while with just apply generous amounts of powder, and just after a while it will just float up. Yeah.
Okay. Wait. I
Yeah.
have a question about nail clipping now. Now that you have mentioned that, if I happen to accidentally cut the nail and the nail starts
Yeah.
to bleed, do I not walk my dog for a period to let it recover?
Usually they are fine walking. You don't have to to like avoid walking for a while. But
Okay.
if you see your dog is limping, then obviously just let her rest for a while lah.
Okay.
But
So there's
usually it's fine. Yeah.
all right. There's no danger
Yeah.
of I walk my dog in the field, so
Okay.
there's no danger of like bacteria getting in or
Oh, okay. If you have that concern, then it might be good to just let her rest for a day first,
okay.
because the nails tend to clot up quite quickly if you use quick stop of blood. Just that
Sure.
you don't want to bring her to the grass, like 10 minutes after her nail is
Yeah.
bleeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just let her rest for a bit, and it should be fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so now let's talk about the very appetizing topic of anal expression.
Okay.
What is it, Kenny, for those people who might not understand it?
Okay. Okay. So dogs at their hind area, they have anal glands.
Uh-huh.
So these inner glands, they discharge a kind of chemical lah, I would say. I guess it's to help with marking, and I'm actually not super clear with the
It's the
most
science of
scientific
this one.
explanation. Yeah. But it's there, and so usually when they poo, right, it usually excretes along the poo.
Okay.
Okay.
That's for a normal case scenario.
Mm.
But they say for some reason the inner gland gets clogged up, or it doesn't excrete properly with the poo, then you may get impacted inner gland. So
Mhm.
it starts filling up lah. That's what
Okay.
it means lah. So when that happens, usually you need to get a groomer to express it. So if if you want to try it, usually it's sorry, maybe let me just try it.
Is this something about Daniel?
Yes. It's something I've never dared to do.
Okay. But maybe Kenny, while you're drawing, is it something that dog owners or groomers always have to do while you're drawing? Maybe you could just explain to us. Is it
Okay.
necessary to be done?
Okay, I wouldn't say I would do it for every single dog that comes here, because if it's not done properly or done unnecessarily, you may lead to a inner gland rupture, which is very
Okay.
bad. You need to infection. So
Okay.
it's something that I wouldn't say I just do it all the time. It's not like for fun. So when a dog comes in, I will just check.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I will just make sure that it's I don't feel anything there. So if I feel something there and it's bothering me, then I will just go a step further to try to express. But if the dog is fine, then I don't think I want to because it's not comfortable for them as well.
Yeah.
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 But
So
yeah.
Sorry, just to interrupt, but
Yeah.
during this period, right, when groomers are closed, if the owner suspects that there is a blocked anal gland which needs expression, is this something that vets can do as well, or would you tell us how owners of dogs can do it at home?
Okay, vets definitely they can do it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
so I'm not sure if the current regulations now on whether they will accept these kind of cases, because it's quite strict currently. So
yeah.
for that they have to check the clinics
Okay.
or if you want to try on your own, I would say okay, for example, here is sorry this
Oh
circle,
yeah.
yeah. So this circle, if just imagine that it's the anus area. So you see these two circles. So that's where you should try to place your fingers and slowly just apply a bit of pressure inwards and upwards.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
sorry, the big circle was the anus.
yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So for for parents that are not sure, I would say maybe don't do it yourself first. Just hold it,
Okay.
until the circuit breaker ends. Hopefully it's a few more days. Or if it's a very serious case, maybe just try to approach a vet lah in the meantime. But if you see your dogs scooting or licking themselves, or you see them very very troubled by it, then it's a sign that you might have to look into it. But
All right.
generally, for bigger dogs, they are less affected by this. Usually, from my experience, it's the smaller dogs. Yeah,
Okay.
smaller to medium breeds, they're more affected. Big dogs usually, I think because of the way that they're built, they're bigger, so it doesn't affect them that much with regards to
Phew.
inner strength.
Okay.
Yeah,
Kenny, I wanted to ask you, I think this will apply to both big or small dogs. How
yeah.
often should a dog be bathed? And after the bath, should they be blow dried or is towel drying enough?
Okay, that depends on what dog you're looking at. So for short coated dogs, I guess 5 days once to a week once is good. Because sometimes they do secrete oils in the body, and to you want them to be comfortable and fresh. So five days once to a week is okay, depending on how much they go out. If you go out a lot, then 5 days. If you stay at home, pretty much all the time, then a week is fine. And with regards to blow drying, for short coated dogs, like really smooth short coated dogs, I guess towel dry is sufficient. But of course, you let them hang out in a very airy, bright area that has a lot of ventilation, on the fan, let them cool off. And for long double coated dogs, I would say depending on how much they go out also. So if your dog goes out a lot, I would say once a week at least. But otherwise, if your dog is double coated dog like huskies, Japanese Spitz, or Chow Chow's Poms, you can let them, you can bathe them maybe closer to once every a week and a half to 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah, see? Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
because what happens is their coat really protects them a lot for double coated dogs,
I
and
see.
their coat has two layers. One is the outer layer, and the other is the inner layer. So a lot of their coats, they are very densely packed, so it actually prevents a lot of a lot of stuff from getting in.
Wow.
So
So people think that if the coat is thicker, they need to bathe it more, but actually it's the other way around.
if you go out a lot, you do have to bathe them. But if they are at home, they don't go in the soil. Actually it's okay because you don't want to bathe them too much. Because if you don't dry them properly, you risk them getting skin problems if you bathe
Yeah.
them too much.
I see, I see,
Yeah.
I see, I see.
Next question is from one of viewers. Sandra is asking, what's your opinion on tooth cleaning? Would it be fine to bring your dog to a groomer to get their teeth cleaned, or must they bring it to the vet and do it under GA?
Okay.
Share with us about that.
Yeah, sure. I would say for tooth cleaning, right, never ever bring to a groomer's place. We don't provide teeth cleaning as well
Oh,
because
but you do brushing, right? Like some groomers, they do brush the dog's teeth. It's
we
not cleaning lah.
we do brush if owners request, but it has to be part of a routine. So
Right.
the owners have to brush them themselves at home and say if you bring your dog for a basic, then I'll just do it as part of their routine. But it shouldn't be like 6 months once you bring to your dog for toothbrushing because it doesn't work that way. Yeah.
I see.
Because when your teeth, when the plaque builds up, right, toothbrushing doesn't clear the plaque off because plaque is very tough. Then that's where some people will start to do dental scaling. But dental scaling, I think it's something that might send a wrong idea to parents because what the vets do when they do a proper scaling is they actually lift up parts of the gums to make sure that the teeth, the roots are well. So with a groomer doing dental scaling without GA, you can't actually see that. So there are cases where groomers do dental scaling and the dogs go back with perfect teeth, and because when you see your dogs having shiny teeth, everyone's happy, and like maybe 3 months later, 4 months later, they go back for their scaling. Just that unbeknownst to them, beneath the gums is all the teeth is rotting. Yeah.
See.
Yeah, so it actually sends a very bad message to parents if they see the teeth being very clean, but actually they don't know that actually their kids having a dental issue.
Right.
Yeah. So only vets I feel are qualified to do dental scaling for the dental. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
see. I see. And okay, so next question. What advice do you have for owners, right, who want to take care of their dogs at home, clean their dogs at home, but they won't stay still? Can you share any of your groomers' tricks to make the dog stay still?
Okay. That really depends on what kind of personality your dogs have. If your dogs are greedy, have apply some peanut butter on a plate, and get
Right.
your partner, to hold the plate, so your dog can just, just be there and lick the peanut butter, while you do grooming, be it nail clipping
This is
or
the
ear
reward
clipping.
method, right? This is the reward.
It's not the kill.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But for the peanut butters, it's best to use organic ones without all the chemicals or the preservatives.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Right.
use organic peanut butter, and you can just get your partner to hold the plate for you, and yeah. So if your dog is not the food motivated type, you can use a toy or uh uh something that that excites them. If
Hmm.
nothing works, I would say you just have to get your partner to help you or friend to help you, and you just have to just do it, but just keep it very short. So, for
Oh,
example, for nail clipping, right? You don't want to try to perfect one nail before you move on. You want just clipping 1 mm from every single nail. I think that's perfect. Yeah. So you
okay.
want to have progress every time. So now you clip 1 mm from every single nail, right?
Hmm.
The dog will just, be, okay. So today's session was only 10 minutes. I didn't get injured.
Hmm.
Nothing much. But even it doesn't matter if even after clipping, you see that the nails are long. It doesn't matter.
Hmm.
What you want is progress. So this week you clip 1 mm. Next week you clip another 1 mm. So your clipping will surely be faster than the growth rate of the nails. So
Right.
Right.
in no time you see that the nails are actually very short. Yeah.
We
Right.
got one more question from a viewer, which is Charmaine. She's asking if we see a flea or a tick on our pet, what do we do? Do we straight away bring it to the groomer, or is there something we can deal with it on our own straight away?
Yeah, actually, I'm curious about this as well because I know that a lot of groomers don't actually deworm or detick pets, right? So I think this is a good question and a way to clarify what the role of a groomer is.
Mm.
Okay. So for the ticking, right, if you see a single tick on your dog, you can actually just remove it carefully with a pair of I would say tweezers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because some of the flea combs, they don't work as well because the tick will just slide through the combs. So
Oh
some
dear.
of them,
Mm-mm.
yeah, they might not work that well. So
Right.
if you have a pair of tweezers, just gently remove the tick. You don't want to burst it onto your dog. So just
Mm.
gently remove the tick, and
Right.
just be very gentle and don't put it by the body. Try to put it as close to the head as possible, because you don't want them to leave their mouth behind. Because sometimes they do leave their mouth, their mandibles behind. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's just one, I would say you can do it yourself. It's like one or two, just do it yourself. But of course, you want to use a blow dryer to just blow through the coat, just to make sure that you don't find any more like smaller ones or like
Mm-hmm.
baby ticks. Yeah. If
Mm-mm.
it's like a big infestation, you could bring to the vet or any groomer's place that that they are willing to solve these kind of problems. Yeah.
Mm.
So what happens is you, you get a
Mm.
you get a bath where they can soak into the bath, and you apply a lotion to help to remove all and cure all the ticks. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on how severe it is, you can make a decision from there. Yeah.
All right. Kenny, so we have to cut the interview short now, but
Yeah.
just one very quick question. Very quick one. Okay, so
Yeah.
we've heard about cat owners.
Yeah.
Do you recommend cat grooming as well since they already groom themselves?
Okay, so for cat grooming, right? I would say it's quite essential because they groom themselves, but sometimes it's not as clean as we might want to, because they groom themselves. Maybe in nature it's sufficient, but in our current context it might not be sufficient because we have other things around in the house that might be dirty, because in nature it's everything is natural. So in a more modern society, we have a lot of dirty stuff around the place, So
Mm.
things it might not be sufficient to let them just clean themselves. So you might want to give them powdered baths regularly to make sure that they are clean, so that because if they're licking themselves, so if there is anything on their body, it goes into their body as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure that they get regular powder baths, and if your cats are okay, water baths will be great actually. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Kenny and Daniel, for your time
Yeah.
today. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining us. I'm sure everybody's learned a lot. Once again, if you want to find out more, you can always log on to Daniel's podcast. Listen to that. He talks to lots of animal owners, and Kenny from Whiskies as well. Please check out Whiskies. We hope very much that they will be deemed a semi-essential service and they will be open very soon. But as you can see, he's got lots of expertise working with different animals, and he'd be happy to work with your cat and dog. And remember, there are dog borders as well in case that you ever need to leave the country. Though we don't recommend doing that anytime soon. Thank you so
Wait,
much.
sorry. Before we end off, can I just do a last shout out?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. So before, because this is a very special period, so some owners, they might be tempted to shave their dogs down, because they want to avoid the maintenance or keep their dog cool. But actually, for double coated breeds, try to never ever do that,
Okay.
or try not to shave any dogs down, because apart from protecting their body from from dirt and bacteria, so sorry, not bacteria, like foreign objects, their coat also helps to cool them down. It protects them against the sun. So if you say you shave a dog down, they get sunburned very easily, they get skin issues. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
and yeah.
Thanks so much, guys. Thank you. Please take Kenny's very good advice.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, Kenny and Daniel. We'll see you guys very soon, we hope. And okay. So I'm getting okay. Yen, I think Yen Xiu has left a question on the Facebook page for you, Kenny. If you wouldn't mind answering that in your free time. But in the meantime, we do have to move on to our last speaker for the day. So thanks very much, guys.
Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, Kenny.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I also just wanted to thank our sponsors again. They are none other than Pet Lovers Center, and they've contributed over $5,000 worth of pet food for both our animal welfare group partners and for any animals adopted through Project Adopt Live. We will be working with the Association for Singapore Dogs to adopt up more dogs in our next episode. So please do look out for that. And Pet Lovers Center will be with you all the way if you do happen to adopt a dog on our initiative.
Also, a special shout out to Magic Dial Photography. Thank you for your contributions to our last episode. This week's viewers, we're continuing this very special deal for you from Magic Dial for just $25. Magic Dial Photography will convert your pet's photograph into a breathtaking watercolor print, and $15 for each sale will go to Project Adopt Live.
Wow, and you get this beautiful picture of your dog as well. In the meantime, I would like to bring on actually the founder of the feast, who is the woman with the big dreams and the even bigger heart, who founded Hope for Animals and brought together all these wonderful organizations for Project Adopt Live. So please welcome Melody Tan. Melody, okay. Melody's not yet in. It's okay. She's probably gonna figure out her way in. So we will also just like to once again tell people a little bit about our special artist collaborators.
That's right. The Hope for Animals artist team has decided to relaunch their bark ornament series, where you can get yourself a bark ornament personalized with a picture of your pets at just $45. Out of this $45, $24.50 will be donated to the shelters. $10 will be a token fee to the artists, and the remaining will cover courier fees and other costs. So if you don't want to wait for personalization, there are also already a few ready-made bark ornaments featuring dogs which might already have a strong resemblance to yours or your friends.
Oh, but before we talk any more about that, I have to tell Daniel and Kenny that I think you guys have to leave the room for Melody to come in. Sorry about that. Okay, bye. We love you very much. We'll see you soon. Okay, and just to go back to talking about this collaboration with the artists, remember that this is a crucial period when animal welfare groups really need your help and generosity. So please don't hesitate to give them a helping hand and score yourself a beautiful keepsake at the same time. You can purchase the Hope for Animals ornaments via the QR code on the screen or through the link in the captions. All right, so...
And also, we'd like to continue to express our gratitude to our campaign sponsor, Pet Lovers Center. They've kindly contributed over $5,000 worth of pet food to both our animal welfare group partners and for any animals that are adopted through Project Adopt Live. Pet Lovers Center, actually, we're members with them, and they do have the widest range and the freshest stock of products to help pet owners care for their animals, and they also provide services like pet grooming and vet consultations. Online shopping for Pet Lovers Center is available throughout this circuit breaker period, 24/7 on their website.
Yeah. And in case everybody has been happy to meet Daniel today, as he's been telling us about dogs, once again, our next episode will be talking to Action for Singapore Dogs. So you'll get to meet some of the very lovely dogs there and hopefully bring some of them home. In the meantime, yay, Melody has successfully entered the group. And once again, she's the founder of the piece. She founded Hope for Animals, and she would like to share a little bit about why she is so passionate about this cause. Melody, please take it away.
Hi Joe, hi Ed. Yeah, so thanks for doing this with us. So we are very happy to actually come out with different things every time when there's any situation. So over the past 3-4 years, when Hope for Animals evolved into doing more events, we've been trying to raise more funds, raise more awareness for adoption, and events is where we realize that we become partners of the animal welfare groups. So with this year, our plan was that we wanted to raise at least $20,000 for the shelters, but because of the current situation, we can't. So that's why we thought like it would be a good time to try out this live streaming, and especially because we wanted to reach out to communities. So just to share a little bit, Hope for Animals create communities within different sections. Like we created a artist group, and that's why we have the bug ornament series. We created a car group, which whenever there's any fundraising car wash, we will actually contact them. And today, or rather this year, we created our third community with everyone, including you guys, for the PALS initiative.
Yay.
Which you guys are really doing a fantastic job to help fundraise and helping awareness to the adoption to the adoption for the animal welfare groups and fundraising. So I just would like to share a little bit that after we did our first adoption drive on the 5th of April, we were told by the shelters that we have worked with that the adoption enquiries have actually doubled up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like our previous episode we did for purely adoptions, we have over 70 applicants in 2 days.
Oh, great.
That's great.
Yeah, so I just would like to share that we are doing something, and I'm very glad that the audience are actually taking note of this and joining us, and all of us working together hand in hand. So it's definitely making an effort, and we are very glad to have every single one of you guys volunteers to help out, as well as the viewers to actually join in and help us share, because that is how it can get better.
Absolutely. And actually, since you talked about that, Melody, for the viewers who are watching this, should they get in touch with your organization if they want to volunteer as well? Because I'm sure that you will help.
Definitely. So, how we work is that our Home for Animals, we are not a traditional welfare group. A lot of shelters these days, in general, shelters are animal welfare groups. They focus on rehoming, rescuing, and looking after the shelter animals. Whereas Hope for Animals is a different compartment altogether. We use our skills in different ways. Meaning that because I know for a fact I can't rescue and I can't rehome anymore. So what I do is that I'm trained as a graphic designer. So that's why I use my graphic design skills to actually come out the graphical contents for events and for content creation for our media. And then we have a teammate that does events. So we using that skill, he's handling the event management. We have another teammate that handles websites and marketing, and she handles that. So everyone plays a part using the skills that they have, and they do volunteer in other ways. And if anyone is interested to volunteer in this kind of way, maybe not the usual way, I mean, by all means, we are always glad to have more people on board.
That's wonderful. And of course, if you want to directly impact the dog's life, you feel like, okay, if I volunteer, maybe I don't see the results immediately. Please do adopt, because by adopting, you are saving two lives, not
Yes.
just the one you rescue and who will also take care of you and save your life as well, I would say. You also make space in the shelter for another dog once you've freed up that space by adopting yours. So, Melody, I think it might be time for us to wrap up this session.
Yes.
So,
So,
oh, sorry, Melody.
No worries. I just wanted to give a last shout out to the committee, because this would not have happened if it weren't for our main for this entire team, and I'm very glad to actually have don't mind me being a bit sentimental here. Yeah, but I would just like to give a shout out to 5 person particularly. First and foremost, my teammate, my partner in both life and crime, Dominic, who has been working with us to push this out. Eleanor, who has been helping us with the marketing side as well as the back end for the website. Ivan, who's in charge of the photography, he is working together with all the photographers, and they are going to prepare to launch out the photography series once the circuit breaker ends. Because obviously right now they can't do. And then we also have Seth and Madeline, who are actually handling the whole live streaming. So Madeline and Seth actually puts a lot of effort every Sunday to do the entire live streaming setup. They also plan the test. They work very hard just to make every single live streaming out. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much to this entire team which has made this possible. As you heard from Melody, they really have been saving dogs' lives, saving animals' lives. And also, we want to thank our sponsors once again for making this possible, which is Magic Dial Photography for the last episode. Once again, for just $25, viewers, Magic Dial Photography will convert your pet's photograph into a beautiful watercolor print. And $15 for each sale will go to Project Adopt Live, and the rest goes to cover administrative and basically material costs. And also, Ed.
Pet Lover Center that we've mentioned a couple of times already, they've contributed over $5,000 worth of pet food for both our animal welfare group partners as well as any animals that are adopted through Project Adopt Live. Also, a final reminder that you can pick up the bark ornament series from the Hope for Animals artist team. It costs just $45, and more than half of it will be donated to the shelters.
Yeah. So, and once again, if you want to directly adopt any dogs, next episode we'll be talking to Action for Singapore Dogs (ASD), where you can meet some of these beautiful creatures that need a home.
We'd like to thank our guests for this week. Daniel from who's our super fashion godfather and dog godfather as well. Kenny from Whiskies, which is a all-in-one dog salon border groomer. And also to Melody and the team over at Hope for Animals. Thank you so much.
All right. So, from all of us at Project Adopt Live and also from our adopted dog Wobbles Woo, stay safe, be well, and see you next week. Bye,
Take
everyone.
care. Bye-bye.
Bye.